Camera acting crazy. Derek Williams. It's good, bro. Well. You know, thank you for finishing my book, Derek. Appreciate that, man. Thank you for copying it. Thank you for reading it. Yes, Great Omega. I'm live. Um, so, what's good, Snap Turtle in the house? You know what I'm saying? Got some time. I got off early from work, and my kids are out right now, so I figured I'd take this opportunity to talk about what I have compiled for this discussion today. Um, and you're gonna have to follow me real hard here. It gets deep. It gets deep. As you know, there's a lot going on in the world right now. A lot of bullshit that is distracting people who even are aware of the distraction. Right? People who are always talking about being distracted by what's going on in politics and the media are distracted by that distraction. And there are things that are happening that it would be scary. You could call it scary, but that just gives it some type of, I don't know. It makes it seem as though hold on. My bad, y'all. I just read a text message that was funny. So look, Trump is talking about uh, go back to your country, and people are blowing it out of proportion and making a big deal out of it. And he's doing this deliberately. We have the issues at the border and all that stuff. And that's all you hear about from mainstream media and even alternative media, right? You're hearing about this border problem. And from my perspective, depending on how you look at it, it could be a problem, but at the same time, we have to think about who the original illegal immigrants were all those hundreds of years ago. And one can say this is a bit of karma for those individuals. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, in my view, in the perfect world for me, there would be no borders anywhere. We're all human beings. We're all of this earth. We should be able to travel anywhere we want, as long as we're not causing problems, right? But it's not like that. As soon as you establish a government, you have to establish borders. You know, and like they say, without borders, you have no country. No government, no borders, no country. All right. And people say that as if having a country, quote unquote, is a good thing. Um, but there are real things happening that no one seems to want to talk about. And, well, people are talking about it, but it's not getting a lot of attention. So I figured I would put a lot of these things together and give you my perspective of what it is, what the overall agenda is, essentially connecting the dots. All right. So when you connect the dots, see, people talk about these issues one at a time, and that's not a problem, right? Because they're all problems. But you know, it might help people understand a little bit better what the real agenda is if you try to kind of like streamline it and make it come all together, make it fit. Um, and of course, this is not what they're not going to tell you this, right? They're going to use euphemisms. They're going to make it sound good. They're going to use pathos and all that stuff. Pull at your heartstrings, um, just to make you get with the program. Um, but one of the most disturbing things I want to talk about is the TAPS Act. Okay, the TAPS Act is a bill, right? It's House Resolution Bill 838, and It is essentially a pre-crime bill or a minority report bill. That's basically what it is. There's no two ways around it. It's a minority report bill. And right now, I'm going to go to a video to show you guys, right, the introduction of this bill. Let me see here. Okay. I'm going to type it in. Taps. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the representative that initiated this bill. We're going to go to his channel to go over the video. They're going to use a lot of euphemisms. They're going to pull out heartstrings. I'm going to break that down. I'm going to make it, I'm going to translate it. I'm going to translate it into some real shit. Because look, man, they're essentially destroying all of the Bill of Rights. I mean, they're violating the Bill of Rights every day. And we give them that opportunity. We give them carte blanche to do so. So hold on. I'm going to share my screen with you. And we're going to get into this press conference. What's going on here? I have a lot of windows open right now. The heck? All right. No, application window. Let's see. All right. What's saying, Derek? What's up, the wise one? The hero sailor that morphed into a traitor. Yeah, it's basically exactly what he did. All right, now. I don't know if you guys seen this press conference, but it's crazy. God bless you too, man. Okay, Lewis, Stephen. Good night, man. They're out there in the UK. All right. Let's see. What? Oops.
For two reasons. First, today, we're here for two reasons. First, to honor the sacrifice of these men and women in blue who put their life on the line every single day to protect us and the vital.
I'm going to stop the video every now and then because I don't want to get hit with no. Well, I'm not monetized, so it doesn't even matter. So let's go roll on through it. Fair use act and all that. God bless you.
Role that law enforcement plays.
Look at this guy.
Safety and the well-being of our communities and our districts.
Like, yeah,
secondly,
I'm about to
highlight a bipartisan solution that we all are working on.
I'm about to commit treason on my country right now. You see him over there? Good guy.
To protect our communities and schools from the terrible acts of violence that we've seen and are getting to be almost.
Now, I want you to pay attention to a key word here. See, these are trigger words. They're going to use a lot of trigger words like schools and extreme violence, right? When you put schools and extreme violence in the same sentence, what you're doing is you're pulling at the heartstrings, right? You're using pathos to sway the argument. You're using pathos to sway people to your side. All right.
Routine. They're tragic. Given the horrific tragedies that have occurred.
Routine. Okay. Routine mass shootings at schools. That's what he's basically saying.
Recently at both the STEM school in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, and the Poway synagogue shooting in Southern California. And not to forget the unfortunate anniversaries of Columbine, Parkland, Virginia Tech, and Santa Fe.
Now, let me stop there right here, okay? He's talking about the synagogue in California, right? Now, wasn't there another synagogue shooting before that one? Why isn't he talking about that? Why didn't he bring that up? And he might bring it up later, but why didn't he bring that up? Because that synagogue decided, the people of that synagogue decided that they were going to make sure that there was armed guards inside their synagogue. They were going to make sure they were going to take their power to make sure this never happens again. All right. And they don't want to bring that up. They don't want that to be known.
Which this upcoming Saturday, by the way, is the anniversary and took place less than 15 miles outside of my congressional district down in Texas. We must be doing more to prevent these types of atrocities from occurring. The American people are desperate for a solution.
Wait. You hear this? The American people are desperate for a solution. They are desperate for a solution. That means that they must answer our desperate calls, right? We're so desperate. We need them to come in and take more power from us so that we can feel safe, right? Let's keep going.
Got one. We've got a solution to help this. The Bipartisan Threat Assessment Prevention and Safety Act, better known as the TAPS Act, has been co-sponsored by almost 80 members of Congress, perfectly divided between Republicans and Democrats. And the bill is...
Now, when has that ever happened? When has a bill ever been perfectly divided between Democrats and Republicans? How often does that happen? So when you have a bill like this, a pre-crime bill that will further violate the Fourth Amendment and the Second Amendment, right? And the First Amendment, that's a problem. And so we have an equal split in the House that says that they want to implement this law. Let's keep going.
It's been endorsed by nearly 50 organizations and associations, including the Fraternal Order of Police, the National
the police. The police wants this to get cracking. Oh, what a surprise, man. I'm surprised by that. Oh, shit.
Association and the International Association of Chiefs of Police. Also endorsing this bill are many mental health associations and victim survivor advocacy groups like Sandy Hook Promise and many others. Our goal is to take a scientifically validated process that has been in place literally for decades now. And it's even used by the Capitol Hill Police, right where we're standing, to protect us members of Congress and to make it readily available on the state and the local levels.
What did you just say?
For decades now.
What did you say?
And it's even used by the Capitol Hill Police, right where we're standing,
the Capitol Hill Police,
to protect us members of Congress and to make it readily available on the state and the local levels. So let's continue to work together, and as the group of us here today currently are, to stop these tragedies.
Let's hit that like button when y'all come up in here, man.
The truth is, there's no reactive method that is fast
YouTube
enough
ain't gonna push my video. They're not gonna push this.
And we know that once the first shot is fired, it's too late. We've failed. So thank you all again for.
Okay, now listen. He said, by the time the first shot is fired, we're too late. They're too late, meaning daddy government is too late for them to intervene because a shot was fired. Not, let's empower the citizens so that if they see someone pull out a gun to harm somebody, they can't pick up their own gun to defend themselves, so that the first shot that is heard is the one from the people that are defending themselves. No, they want to be able to just strip everyone strip every one of their weapons, and they want to take care of everything themselves, which they're not going to do. They're not going to save anybody.
For being here, and I will be happy to take any questions at the end of the conference. But let me introduce to you, we have several Congress members here, and I'm very proud that they're all here, but I'm going to introduce to you Representative Katie Hill from California, who has been a tremendous supporter of this effort and a pleasure to work across the aisle with.
Thank you.
Katie, I had the pleasure of meeting your father as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you all so much for being here, and I'm so proud to join you this afternoon, Representative Babin and all of you here. I want to thank you for your work on this critical issue, as well as Val Demings, who, although she wasn't able to join us today, she's been a leader on this as well. My name is Katie Hill, and I'm the Congresswoman from California's 25th Congressional District. My hometown is home to many of the police officers, firefighters, and nurses who serve all of Los Angeles County. My community is rooted in that service, and it's the value that I grew up with, and one of the reasons I chose to serve my community by running for office. My dad here is an Air Force veteran and currently works as a police officer. In fact, he's here with us as part of a large group from our district who flew out for Police Week. As a little girl, I remember what it was like to wonder if my dad would make it home at night.
Here comes the pathos. Y'all, here it comes. Oh, when my daddy was out, he was a cop, and I was so worried about him. Heifer, you didn't understand what your daddy was doing. Quit lying.
I remembered being so scared for his life because he was on the front lines protecting mine and all of the other members of my community. I was proud of him then, and I'm proud of him now. But unlike then, I now have the opportunity to fight for him and the men and women serving just like him. Protecting and supporting our law enforcement should not be a partisan issue. And the group here with you today
did you hear what she just said?
That we can have protecting mine and all of the other members of my community. I was proud of him then, and I'm proud of him now. But unlike then, I now have the opportunity to fight for him and the men and women serving just like him. Protecting and supporting our law enforcement should not be a partisan issue.
Now, wait a minute. You hear what she just said? Protecting the members of law enforcement. What about the citizens? So is that what this TAPS Act is about? Protecting the cops who are armed to the teeth, who are being militarized every day with military surplus weapons? Lordy, lordy. Okay, protecting the cops. Okay, that's what this is about. All right, let's keep going.
And the group here with you today demonstrates that we can have meaningful legislative reform that works across the aisle. For too long, we've seen the lives of our law enforcement threatened by guns that have no business being on our streets, by violence that could have been prevented, and by mass casualties.
Wait, do y'all hear that? Okay, now see, there's a lot to break down here. And like I said, I warned you I'm going to stop this video quite often. She just personified a tool. Okay, she personified a tool. Let me show you where she did that at.
Partisan issue. And the group here with you today demonstrates that we can have meaningful legislative reform that works across the aisle. For too long, we've seen the lives of our law enforcement threatened by guns that have no business being on our streets.
Threatened by guns. Now, I don't know about y'all, but, you know, a knife can be used to kill somebody. Now, if you walked in your kitchen and saw a knife sitting on the table, would you feel threatened by the knife if it's sitting on the table? How is one threatened by a gun? You see how they're personifying a tool? The gun is the threat. The gun is the object of fear, not an individual who might pick up that gun or pick up any weapon to harm you with, but the gun itself. See, they're demonizing an inanimate object. It's very irrational.
By violence that could have been prevented, and by mass casualties that we should have seen coming. The greatest country in the world should have the greatest security procedures in place. And that's why I'm so proud to support the Threat Assessment and Protection and Safety Act. We'll call it TAPS from now on, with Representative Babin. TAPS institutes a process that will identify, investigate, assess, and mitigate threats before they happen. That means safer schools.
Y'all hear that? Mitigate a threat before they happen. How is there a threat that hasn't occurred yet? Where they do that at? Where has that ever been a threat that hasn't occurred yet? How do you stop a threat before it happens?
For police officers and safer communities. To stop tragedies before they occur, our states and communities need training, resources, and support. And that's where this bill comes in. The day after I was elected to serve as the Congresswoman for California.
Now hold up. They've spent billions and trillions of dollars trying to monitor and forecast earthquakes. Okay. Can we all agree that an earthquake large enough can be a tragedy? Yet they don't know, after spending billions and trillions of dollars, they don't know when that next big earthquake is going to happen. So, but they expect to stop a human tragedy or a tragedy caused by a human being to occur. What are they talking about? Let's keep going.
California's 25th, tragedy struck just outside my district. The borderline shooting took the lives of 13 individuals, most of whom were local college students, 2 of whom were veterans. In fact, members of my staff and I were planning to attend the line dancing night at the borderline the following evening. My stepsister's roommate climbed through a window.
Let me ask you something, man. Do you really believe that she was going to go line dancing at that bar where that shooting happened? Come on, man. Well, I was going to go line dancing.
No, in the bar to escape that night. And even before the Borderline shooting, 3 members of our community died in the Las Vegas massacre. One of the individuals who died at the Borderline shooting had previously survived the Las Vegas shooting.
What are the
These
odds of
events are
that?
taking place every day in communities across our country, and they are becoming all too often. We cannot sit by and do nothing. Today, in honor of Police Week,
I'm done with her. Let's get Dan Crenshaw up in there. Let's see what Dan Crenshaw got to say.
Thank you all. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Congressman Babin, for your leadership on this issue. I am proud to be a co-sponsor of the Threat Assessment Prevention and Safety Act.
Look at this guy.
As you know, that will be called TAPS from now on, because it is something we truly need. It develops a national strategy to prevent violence and provide at-risk communities with the resources they need. The fact is that behavioral threat assessments work. They are an effective preventative tool.
Oh, you know it, Derek, and that's what I'm gonna talk about with the algorithms and all that.
To protect our president and other government officials, we must protect American citizens from attackers in the most efficient and effective ways possible.
And how is
Tools
that?
are actually used by a number of agents.
Now, mind you, this guy was a Navy SEAL, okay? He was in the military, much like myself. And he and I, and Derek Williams, we all raised our right hand, or whatever the hell we did. We swore in, and we swore to protect the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay, now, and particularly the Bill of Rights. And what he is co-sponsoring makes him violate those very rights. There's no two ways about it. This guy and that heifer that just talked about line dancing and Babel, whatever his name is, they're all traitors. They all swore to protect the Constitution. This guy swore to protect the Constitution in the Navy. He got out, and then he became a congressman where he swore again to protect it. And what he's doing right now, he's not doing that.
Already, including the Naval Criminal Investigative Service and the FBI. It's just a matter of better disseminating the lessons learned and helping communities in implementing them. These tools need to make it down to a local level. Teachers, counselors, law enforcement, they should all have better access.
They want to give teachers access to whatever the TAPS Act is going to implement. Okay, so now why not deputize the teachers? Why not deputize the teachers?
Here by law enforcement on Police Week. First off, thank you to you all and your fellow law enforcement officers across the country for your dedication to protecting our communities and our families. Many of these law enforcement teams around the country know that the benefits of this strategy would make a difference in their communities. And the TAPS Act does not create a one-size-fits-all solution, but acknowledges that there are differing needs across the country.
Okay.
This bill establishes a joint
I'm done with
threat
this.
assessment
All right.
management.
We've heard enough. Hold on, y'all. I've heard enough. We get the gist, okay? They're not talking about shit. They're not talking about that. They're talking about we need to stop this and stop that before. We need to empower the police more. We need to empower the teachers. Let me tell y'all something. This is a load of BS. All right. Now, let's go down to the comments. Oh, wait a minute. Comments are disabled for this video. Why would it be that the comments are disabled for this video? Because they know it's bull and they know that people are going to just tear them apart because of it. They're going to get tore up. There, Williams says, unlike the movie Minority Report, I don't believe the government has psychic technology to predict future crimes. Well, no, not yet, but, you know, all they need to do is get a cerebral cracking, right? All right, so never mind this nonsense. Never mind this nonsense. Y'all get the gist. The use of pathos, the use of appealing to authority, which this guy is, right? Appealing to authority, which is it's not really it is, because this guy was a part of naval intelligence, right? That's an authority, and he's telling you that, oh, this works for the Navy and the military, so we should use this in the civilian world, appealing to authority. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So, a logical fallacy. Of course, they don't want to see negative comments. Look at this. Anytime you see comments are disabled for this video, that means that they know they about to get some backlash like a big dog. And where are the like to dislike ratios at? Where that at? Where that at? Do we see it? Are y'all seeing this? Where's the like to dislike numbers? This video came out in May. Okay, it's been what, 3 months? 3 months since this video came out, and we don't know what we don't know what the like to dislike ratio is. 1,900 views. This lets you know how blind and idiotic people are. Only 2,000 views in 4 months for something this big. Where they do that at? All right, now let's go to some of the literature of the TAPS Act. Okay, now let's see what it talks about here. Okay, HR 838 is there to develop a national strategy to prevent targeted violence through behavioral threat assessment and management, and for other purposes. What are those other purposes? Now, through behavioral threat assessment. Now, how are they going to obtain these assessments? How are they going to administer these assessments? How are they going to manage it? What are they going to do? All right. So let's look at this, okay? This act may be cited as the Assessment, Prevention, and Safety Act of 2019. Okay, Section 2, sense of Congress. Okay, let's get to the section. HR 38, Section 2. It is the sense of Congress that incidents of targeted violence are impacting our nation frequently and indiscriminately. Why are they personifying incidents again? Why are they personifying shit? Incidents of targeted violence are impacting our nation frequently and indiscriminately. Okay, what does that indiscriminately means? That just all out violence, just with no care. There's no reason behind it, no rhyme or reason behind the violence. We're just gonna be violent. Okay, so now it is a collaborative, multi-jurisdictional behavior. So multi-jurisdictional. That means that the lines of jurisdiction are going to be ignored and blurred. Okay, behavioral threat assessment and management process on a federal, state, local, and tribal level. That means that they're going to roll the Native American tribes into this, right? Did they agree to this? Did they say, oh, okay, yeah, we'll be part of that? What's up with that? Now, complements the development of better methods for strategically targeting violence in communities, including schools, or preventing targeted violence. Now, how are they going to do that? All right. Now, let's scroll on down. Okay, look. Establishing such guidelines and best practices is an important step toward preventing targeted violence. Okay, so we know that they want to somehow ascertain what that threat is. Okay. All right. So behavioral threat assessment and management. The term behavioral threat assessment and management means the systematic and evidence-based. Evidence-based? How are they going to obtain this evidence? How do you obtain evidence of a crime that hasn't happened yet? Or how do you get evidence of a threat that hasn't manifested itself yet? Right? It's a pre-threat, pre-crime bill. All right. Identifying individuals who are exhibiting patterns of concerning behavior that indicate an interest, motive, intention, or capability of carrying out an act of violence. Okay. Identifying individuals who are exhibiting patterns of concerning behavior. How are they going to do that? How are they going to do that? Are they going to go to YouTube? Are they going to go to Facebook? Are they going to have teachers in on this? Like, oh, okay. Oh, let's get the teachers in on this. Whenever they see some odd behavior from a student, what they deem to be odd, let's go ahead and Let's have them part. Come on, man. Investigating and gathering information from multiple sources to assess whether an individual described in subparagraph A, which is this, poses a threat based on articulatable facts and the subsequent management of such threat if necessary. How do you manage that threat? Huh? How do you manage this threat? Definition related to certain educational terms. Okay, whatever. Now, you see how they do this? They throw in school stuff. The terms early childhood education program, elementary school, local education agency, secondary school, and state educational agency have the meanings given those terms in Section 8108 of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965. All right, so we know that the hook is the schools, the school shootings, little children. They're going to use like Rahm Emanuel said, never let a good tragedy go to waste. So that's what they're doing. All right. So we pretty much get the gist of this, right? Okay. So the national strategy, or is it rules of construction? Rule of construction. The national strategy developed under this subsection shall not be construed to be a national standard. In general, the task force shall be composed of not more than 24 members. So there's going to be a task force, okay, that is going to determine your mental stability. They're going to determine your behavior and see what's what. This is nuts, man. So we get, look, there's a lot to this. If you guys want to go to this website, congress.gov, it's right there. You type in HR 838 and it'll show you what it's about. It'll show you the gist of it. And now look, in May, when they did that conference, they said there were 80 members of Congress that co-sponsored this bill. Now look at the number. It's 106. All right, let's go to that. Okay. Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat. Y'all see the pattern here, right? Y'all see the pattern? This is the most miraculous bill ever. Look at this. Look at this even split. All these members of Congress are traitors. Okay, they are violating. They want to violate your constitutional rights. They want to violate the Bill of Rights. There's no two ways about it. Okay, there will be no due process. There will be a psychological evaluation. There will be some type of screening process. They're going to monitor your YouTube. They're going to monitor your Facebook page. They're going to do all that. And they're going to subjectively determine whether or not you're a threat. Okay? None of this mentions anything about going to court. It's talking about psychological evaluation, this, that, and the third. All right. Now, so why is the TAPS Act so important? Why is the TAPS Act so important? Well, it's important because, and it's being co-sponsored, I believe. Now, this is what I believe. Hold on, y'all. All right. Just making sure my kids ain't home yet. So it's being co-sponsored by so many Mickey Fickies because there is a greater scheme, a greater plan that they are all on board with. There Williams says. So basically, a board will dictate who or who is not mentally competent and who may be have a propensity towards violence in there. Exactly, Derek. Okay, exactly. So now look. There are many small agendas leading toward a greater agenda. Okay, and this TAPS Act is another means of people control. Okay, they need to be able to control the people. They need to be able to get to weed the dissenters out. Okay, they need blind lemmings, and it's an interesting thing about lemons. Okay, Lemmings don't really follow each other off the cliff. They're being pushed off the cliff. Do you understand? If you see watch that video where the lemmings are falling off the cliff, they're being pushed because they're not really doing it. One lemon falls off, they're not jumping off with them. They're being pushed off. Anyway, I digress. So they need to weed us out. They need to disarm the people. And any dissenters, anybody who pushes back, anybody who rebels against the agenda. Hold on. They need to be able to get them up out of there. They need to be able to subdue them. They need to be able to neutralize them. All right. Now, let's get into one agenda. Okay. And it's coming up. Okay. By October 2020, you need to be having this all up in your life. Hold on, let me close this out. Okay. All right. So let's get into ID 2020. Okay. Shout out to Irene Yvette. She was talking about this yesterday. But listen, ID 2020 is bad news. Okay. And I have to talk about this. Okay. Everybody believes Trump is this nationalist guy, this nationalist president who wants, America to be great again, this, that, and the third. But they don't talk about how he is pushing ID 2020. All right. He's pushing ID 2020 because he is not a nationalist. All right. He's pushing ID 2020 because he is in league with the UN to implement this ID 2020. ID 2020 is not just about the United States. It is about 120 some countries coming together to make this ID 2020 happen. All right. Where they will have all your information on file through this ID. You will have zero privacy if you go to one place or another. Now, right now, if you don't have your ID 20, your real ID by October 2020, you can't fly on a plane to go anywhere. You can drive, but how long will that last? Okay. And the reason I say that the TAPS Act is an important component to help ID 2020 go smoothly is because they don't want you to be able to resist the things that come along with ID 2020. Okay. Right now it's just, okay, you need a birth certificate and you need this, that. You need a birth certificate. You need 2 forms of ID to get your real ID right now. Okay. But, oh man, it's crazy. So let's talk about this. This is the UN Refugee Agency website. Okay. Now, see, ID 2020 it's about having to identify yourself everywhere you go. It's about, these agencies, these people, the government, and wherever you travel to, they want to know everything about you. They want to know what you're about. They want to know that you're really you. That's really what this is about. Okay. And it's no joke. Let's get into the background. 65 million people, the highest number seen in decades, are displaced. Now, see, look, here comes the pathos again. Here comes the pathos. All right. It's always pathos. It's always emotionalism because they know so many people are emotional these days. 65 million people, the highest number seen in decades, are displaced due to conflict, drought, famine, and other factors. The root causes of forced displacement are often deeply stressful, and refugees may not have time or opportunity to obtain or locate essential personal documents before fleeing. Okay. Now this is the rub. Okay. This is the hook right here. Okay. In every proposal, there's a hook to hook you in, to make you want to go along with this. All right. There, when it says the 7 most industrialized nations are inspiring, called echelon. Exactly. That on its face is illegal, that America would allow certain countries. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. And Trump ain't stopping that. Trump ain't stopping that. He's all for it. He is not a nationalist. Okay. Furthermore, simply paper-based credentials are likely to be lost or destroyed during displacement. All right, that's that BS. A multi-stakeholder model is essential to enable broadly recognized identity. For the benefits of a digital identity to be realized, an identity must be broadly recognized. For what? Why must my identity be broadly recognized? I don't want my identity to be broadly recognized. Why do I have to give you my life? Why do I have to give you my life on a silver platter? Why do I have to give you a dossier of myself to go to the Maldives or to go to Spain and chill at the beach? I can't just enjoy the world. I got to give you my life. In private sector organizations, which an individual may interact, while this is partly a question of technological interoperability across both organizational and geographic borders, it is more so a question of ecosystem and governance. Wow. Okay, now let's look at this. Participating organizations include governments, United States, Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, ID 2020, UNHCR, WFP, Accenture, European Commission, GSMA, World Bank. Y'all see World Bank. Interesting. So y'all see what's going on here. ID 2020 is crucial. Okay. It's crucial because of it's crucial for the implementation of the identity of things or the Internet of Things. Okay. Best believe it. If you want to access, because see, 5G is rolling out. And if you want access to this revolutionary technology, okay, you have to you must be a part of the Internet of Things. You will be a part of the Internet of Things. If you travel or you go anywhere or you want to get in certain buildings, you're gonna have to get retina scans. They're gonna have to look at your ID. They're gonna have to look at your medical history. Everything is going to be right there at their fingertips. Okay. Now, like I said, ID 2020, you only need two things to get it right now, right? You need your two proofs of address, birth certificate. Okay. Now, what's going to come down the pike? Will you have to be injected with vaccines? Will you have to be vaccinated? You know what I'm saying? What things will you have to? What are you going to have to do? And how far are they going to use this? Is it only going to be with flying state to state, country to country? Or will it be some type of border at every state where you have to show your ID to cross into it? Where does this stop? See, this is a slippery slope. Okay. Now, right now, we can avoid getting ID 2020. If we want to travel to another state, we're going to have to drive or you get a passport for now. Okay. They can't just throw it all on you at one time. They have to lay it out piece by piece. They have to roll it out slowly. You understand what I'm saying? Now, this is what I believe, and this is what I feel like is going to happen because this is how it all happens. All right. Now, ID 2020, digital identity. Okay. They want to digitize your being. They want to digitize you. They want to give you retina scans. They want to put chips in your hand. They want to give you real IDs. Transhumanism is real, and that's what they're leading towards. Okay. Like boiling a frog, exactly. Like boiling a frog or spirit cooking. You heard me? Now, and Agenda 21, it's all encompassing. It's all encompassing, and it's not just the United States. Agenda 21 is a part of Agenda 2030, and all this is important. If you want this to get cracking, you need the Internet of Things. You need that 5G rollout. Okay, 5G is very important as well because they won't be able to achieve what they want to achieve without it. Okay. Okay. 5G, that's their thing. Okay. So let's get into 5G real quick. Let's get into 5G. Because 5G will be important for the ID 2020. Okay. That will go hand in hand. You know, like instead of using keys to unlock your door, you might have to use your ID, and then every time you go in your house, it's recorded in some network somewhere because of ID 20 or because of 5G. This shit is real, y'all. Okay, let's talk about the 5G. 5G mobile. I think this is it. All right. Now this is Israel's business arena. I didn't want to talk about this shit. Hold on. Okay. Now let's talk about the IoT. Okay, which is the Internet of Things. What 5G means for the Internet of Things. Even though, what? Who, you stupid fool? Who's that? What's good, yo? The tiny country of Estonia is becoming the world's first smart city. See, and that's what I'm talking about. That's part of it. That's all part of Agenda 21. All right. And let me tell you something about Agenda 21. There is an official map that came out last year that outlines the mega regions that are for Agenda 21. I had the hardest time finding that. Again, they basically stripped it from every search engine. DuckDuckGo, YouTube. Like, I could not find this map, but luckily I found it. And we'll get into that a little later. All right. Now look, 5G is expected to provide faster speeds. Nokia predicts 5G internet speeds as high as 10 gigabytes per second. Why do we need it to be that fast? Lowered latency, network support for massive increases in data traffic, expansion of cell sites. Now let me tell y'all, I haven't had any issues with my internet except for when I was doing my Mobilize in my truck. That's when I had the biggest problem with my mobile internet. Okay. Enabling completely new applications while also benefiting many IoT applications, Internet of Things. A 5G platform will impact many industries, including automotive, entertainment, agriculture, manufacturing, and IT. Consider these few examples of the necessity. You see this word? Necessity. Necessity? Wait, was it a necessity 100 years ago? 200 years ago? What's up, you stupid fool? Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Thank you for joining me. Five, necessity. I don't think it's a necessity at all. Machine-to-machine communications, if stalled by connectivity issues, can lead to revenue loss due to production line slowdowns. Okay, here goes logos. Finally, they're trying to use logos here. Okay, it's only logical that you need 5G to reduce revenue loss, right? A connected car traveling at 70 miles per hour would travel over 10 feet further before applying the brakes if the system was experiencing a 100 millisecond delay. All right, now look. What? A connected car. What is a connected car? How about not have a connected car? That way you can apply the brakes yourself. Quit being lazy and be alert and drive. That's how you prevent that. Augmented and virtual reality both rely on speed and low latency as they demand immediate interactivity. These are not necessities. Connectivity predictions. None of these are necessities for life. We don't need this shit. What are they talking about? Machina, whatever, research forecast, IoT will account for 1/4 of the global 41 million 5G connections in 2024. That means that your things, the things that you love so much, will be connected through this 5G by 2024. Approximately 3/4 of these will be in the auto industry via embedded vehicle connections. That means you won't be able to drive your vehicle unless it's connected to the 5G network. You understand what I'm saying? They'll give you the illusion that you can, but if they want to shut your car down, my brother, my sisters, all they got to do is hit a switch. Yet a wide range of applications will benefit from 5G's ultra-fast networks in real-time responsiveness. Now, why is it important that 3/4 of these Internet of Things connections are connected are through your vehicle? Okay, have you heard of the freedom of travel? Have you heard of the freedom of travel? Freedom of travel is very important, okay? And it is imperative to them to limit the freedom of travel for individuals. And that's why cars in the future will be connected to this Internet of Things network, okay? Because they want to control your travel, okay? They want to limit your travel. They want to let your travel be whatever they want it to be, okay? A massive machine communications, such as solar-powered streetlights, ultra-fast network and real-time responsiveness. Massive machine communications, such as a solar-powered streetlights, or other innovations to help citywide infrastructure. Citywide infrastructure. Shit, we can't even repair the infrastructure we got. Bridges are falling, pipes are bursting, electrical grids are failing, and this is what they're focused on, the 5G. They're spending billions of dollars to roll out 5G when we still have potholes all up in Compton. I was in Compton today. They got 80-year-old potholes out there, but they want this to roll out. Come on, man. They full of crap. The report also predicts 5G deployment will remain highly concentrated in Japan, Korea, Europe, China, and North America, with Japan and Korea leading the charge. In Korea and Japan, where the birth rates are so low, it's ridiculous. Imagine that. The advent of 5G then will also help operators extend their opportunities in new networks. 5G and MNOs, machine-to-machine and IoT innovation also demand shifts in overall architecture, such as a move to cognitive networks. Telcos will need on-demand, agile, programmable infrastructure, predicting Hussein Moeen, whatever the hell this is. This is BS. All right? I'm telling y'all, man. Look, none of this is important anymore. Okay, let me tell y'all something. Who's responsible for this 5G technology? What was it? Listen. Now, it's not 5G deployment or 5G development is kind of an umbrella thing, right? Numerous people were involved, numerous countries. But the technology they're using for it, the millimeter wave technology, is old as hell. It goes back to the 70s where they were testing it out in Israel. Okay, but let's get to it. Let's get to who's involved with this. Who is involved with developing the 5G standard? All right, who's behind 5G? Now let's talk about this. Okay, it's not really 5G. Okay, it's 3GPP, the Third Generation Partnership Project, the body that governs cellular standards, slated 5G's first formal standard, named 5G-NR, New Radio Standards, in December 2017. There are 3 technological specification groups, okay? Radio access networks, services and systems aspects, core, network, and terminals. All right? Who was involved? All right, this is all technical stuff, okay? It's all technical stuff. Well, let's talk about this. The completed specifications cover a broad range from 600 and 700 megahertz bands to 50 gigahertz millimeter wave portion. And that's a lie, because it's going to go higher than that. It's going to go up to 80 gigahertz. They're full of crap. The Federal Communications Commission started laying out rules for 5G in July 2016, making the U.S. the first country launching high-band spectrum for a wireless standard. Due to spectrum bands being offered to share, unlicensed and licensed users, 4 times the spectrum is available for usage on flexible basis in the past years. Moreover, 15 times more spectrum that is unlicensed is present for users in the past year. Are you kidding me? All right. Now, who is involved? Similar to LTE's cases, most of the 5G NR work is being carried out by Qualcomm. All right. We all know Qualcomm is an Israeli thing. Okay. That's an Israeli company. All right. Let's get to it. And as far as the rest of the technology is concerned, almost every equipment marker in mobile carrier is endeavoring to get a slice of the pie. For instance, apart from Qualcomm, the main companies carrying out 5G work are Nokia and Ericsson. When it comes to the equipment side, and SK Telecom, T-Mobile, Sprint, blah, blah, blah. All right, we know. Qualcomm has made OFDM-based optimized wavelengths that carry the capability to scale both time domains and frequency, as well as a new framework for 5G NR to efficiently multiplex 5G features and services. At the beginning of 2017, Qualcomm, with partners ZTE and Ericsson, had shared news about trials related to 5G network NR that involved Telstra, Vodafone, China Mobile, y'all get the gist. Essentially, Qualcomm, aka Mickey Ficky Israel, developed this crap. And then let's look at this. All right. Now let's look at this. 5G network uses same EMF waves as Pentagon crowd control systems. Okay. Now, this website is called Take Your Power Back, right? It's a website which one might consider to be a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory thingy thing, but y'all get it. Well, let's read this here. The corporate military industrial complex is in the process of deploying upon all civilians, millimeter wave technology linked to weapons programs. The realization of this agenda is progressing toward mainstream awareness, and people are fighting back. Okay. The global rollout of 5G is well underway, and we soon may see new cell towers near all schools, on every residential street, dispersed throughout the natural environment, and pretty much everywhere. But the safety of the technology is in serious question, and there is a raging battle to stop taxpayer-funded implementation of 5G. Now, listen, the companies that are rolling out 5G are private. They're private. Okay? But why is taxpayer money going to the implementation of it? Government subsidies. Okay? This is crazy. The new cell network uses broad radio frequency millimeter waves to deliver high bandwidth data to any device within line of sight. All right, now look. Now these are quotations from people that are part of this 5G thing. Today's cellular network and Wi-Fi networks rely on microwaves, a type of electromagnetic radiation utilizing frequencies up to 6 gigahertz in order to wirelessly transmit voice over data. However, 5G applications will require unlocking of a new spectrum. You hear this? 5G applications will require unlocking of new spectrum bands in higher frequency ranges above 6 gigahertz to 100 gigahertz and beyond, utilizing submillimeter and millimeter waves to allow ultra high rates of data to be transmitted the same amount of time as compared with previous blah, blah, blah. All right, y'all get it. Now look, so one of the ways 5G will enable this is by tapping into new unused bands at the top of the radio spectrum. The top. These high bands are known as millimeter waves and have been recently opened by regulators for licensing. They've largely been untouched by the public, since the equipment required to use them effectively has typically been expensive and inaccessible. This kind of a technology, which is in many of our homes, actually interacts with human. Okay, among many potential problems with exposure to 5G radio waves are issues with the skin. which is interesting when you consider that this technology is already being used in the military for crowd control purposes. All right. The kind of technology which is many of our homes actually interacts with human skin and eyes. The shocking finding was made public via Israeli research studies that were presented at an international conference on the subject last year. Below, you can find a lecture from Ben Ishai of the Department of Physics at Hebrew University. He goes through how human sweat ducts act like a number of helical antennas. I don't know how to pronounce this. Helical antennas when exposed to these wavelengths that are put out by the devices that employ 5G technology. All right. Now let's take a quick look at this. It's 32 minutes. We're not going to go through it.
Okay. Thank you very much for the introduction. As Debbie said, my name is Paul Ben Ishai. I'm here representing both the Hebrew University and also
Hebrew University,
which is my current port of call. This is a summary, if you like, of some of the more recent work we've done in our laboratory with a view on what's happening in the world of industry, in particular communications industry. I stated at the beginning, we're physicists, we're not physiologists. So this is probably a little bit portentous, or maybe even pretentious for a bunch of physicists to talk about. But it stems from the following. A few years ago, I was in the Terahertz conference I think it was actually in Hong Kong. And we sat down and we heard a talk, very nice talk by a guy from Switzerland, showing us a new phantom for terahertz waves, because there's going to be these new standards coming out. This is a particular wave band, still not really exploited and we can use. So it got us to thinking a little bit, because we've been doing similar work on human skin and how it would absorb energy. I've put here an example for you from National Physics Labs of one of their particular phantoms. And the idea of a phantom is pretty simple. You find something which has more or less the same dielectric properties as skin or tissue, so that you can make a model of your skin or tissue. You expose it to radiation and you can put probes inside, you can measure temperature changes. I've even seen some Japanese ideas where they'll put dyes which will change their color according to temperature. So you can see the distribution of the electric field inside and give some idea about the self-absorbing rates that would be around. Now, that's not a bad idea, and it will work under a couple of conditions. And the conditions are, number one, the wavelength you're looking at be much longer than the dimensions of whatever it is you're trying to model. If you can do that, then basically it looks like you have like almost a static field, and you can talk about a homogeneous sample inside. You can ignore the actual nitty-gritty of what makes up tissue. You can do something better and much easier and faster if you then go to computer simulation work. And this is a simulation from CST. I've only chosen CST here. No disrespect for anyone in the audience. It's just simply that was the package we used.
Now pay attention, y'all. This is a model of a cell phone to the head at 2.5 gigahertz. All right, that is the same frequency that the Wi-Fi uses. All right, 2.5 gigahertz.
There are plenty of other good packages which do, finite element analysis. They'll let you then put in your electromagnetic wave. They will break down your particular model and they will solve Maxwell's equations as equations at the boundaries of the particular dimensions you've designed. And that lets you really see what the electric fields will be inside. And from there, you can understand about energy. And if you make a few assumptions, you can get SAR rates. And that's also, it's pretty good. And once again, you're going into an infinite regime. What happens when you get to that really bad boundary? When the wavelength of your energy approaches the dimensions of your biological structures. All those assumptions now collapse. And you actually really have to consider how the interaction is going to be. So we started this work way back in 2008 when we'd actually seen images similar to this for the first time of human skin. This is an OCT image of living human skin. OCT is optical coherence tomography. Basically, it's a method of imaging the skin as skin. And what you're looking at is the upper layer of skin here, the stratum corneum. You're seeing basically this black area is already hypodermis, dermis. You're seeing from here to here, the living epidermis as it goes up, the boundary really, which many people call the dermis to epidermis, until the stratum corneum here. And those coils that you see quite clearly there
Sweat
are your
glands.
sweat ducts.
These coils.
We have 2 to 5 million of
These coils. Dang it! Get out of the way. These coils are essentially antenna. Okay.
these on our skin. We have a massive concentration on our hands of 600 per square centimeter. We have a much smaller concentration, 100 per square centimeter on our back or on our chest. On our foreheads and heads, the back of our heads, we have a concentration of 300 per square centimeter.
Mm.
We are littered with them and we are sweating continuously. In fact, we lose 15% of our moisture all the time through these sweat ducts, even on the coldest of days. Now, pay attention to these dimensions. 0.3 millimeter, I'll put it into nice, easy speak. That's what it is.
Now, he's talking about the millimeters because the wavelengths that they're using for this technology is in the millimeter wave spectrum.
This is relevant when we start looking at frequencies from 60 gig above 300 gig, or if I talk industry speak, 5G.
You hear that?
So
Industry speak 5G.
now we are actually in a situation where we are going to invest millions of dollars, build fantastic infrastructure, and zap ourselves with wavelengths which will interact with the geometrical structure of our skin in some way.
Did you hear what he just said?
Is there health
Hold on
implication
now.
above 300 gig, or if
Listen.
I talk industry speak, 5G? So now we are actually in a situation where we are going to invest millions of dollars, build fantastic infrastructure, and zap ourselves with wavelengths which will interact
Zap ourselves. Does that sound like something that's comfortable?
with the geometrical structure of our skin in some way. Is there a health implication? And that's the big question. And I'm already going to tell you, I can't tell you. I don't know. Once
You don't
again,
know.
I'm a physicist, I'm not a physiologist. But I can tell you what we have seen. We started off seeing if this would actually be active in any way. If I have something, and I'll just go back one stage. If I have something which to a radio engineer looks just like a coiled antenna,
Mm-hmm.
similar to what you would take out of your radio, would it work like an antenna? And there's one other aspect here. The water distribution levels here, oops, sorry, wrong way, are also quite different. That's why we have light and dark here in this particular image. And that's also a point I'll address a little bit later. Well, so we reasoned and we asked ourselves if it could, and if it could we change a reflection coefficient that we would get by bouncing such a signal of someone's skin? We happen to have the ability to do that. We happen to have a very high-end vector network analyzer which could send a signal anything from 75 gig all the way up to 110 gig onto the skin of a person and read what comes back. It's a simple experiment, if you put it that way. So what we did, we made a nice little protocol. We measured the hands of people while they sat there calmly. Then we made them run around this particular campus 2 or 3 times. So they came back extremely stressed, sweating profusely, dried their hands so we wouldn't have any problem, and measured the hand again and looked at what we could see. What we could see resulted in this particular article published in 2008, where we basically stated that these things could work like helical antennas. But the sweat duct was an integral part of the mechanism for the absorption of energy, electromagnetic, between 75 to 110 gig. And that if you changed the character of the sweat duct, i.e. made it work, you could actually change that absorption in some way. And if you could do that, you could then trace how a person is under stress. Now, we did a lot of tests to make sure. We even made sure the sweat duct wouldn't work by neutralizing the nerve endings, and we could see the differences. We followed that up with a more in-depth view of this, and we also looked at
what's going on,
things like,
Cash? We're talking about this
stress,
all this crap
not by
we got going
being
on.
made to run around a campus, but by just being made to think rather heavily. And we could still find traces, and we could still see traces of the stress levels in the reflection coefficient. We've got very nice correlations in this sense. So pretty clearly, there is a mechanism, and it's quite nice that at least in that particular frequency level, the skin is absorbing, and the main, if you like, motivator of that absorption would be the sweat duct. This is all before we'd even realized that these industry standards were going to.
So basically, if you sweat, if you sweat and 5G is cracking in your area and it's operating in the millimeter wave spectrum, you're going to absorb that energy. Okay. And I'm not even going to get into how once it reaches 60 gigahertz, that's the same absorption frequency of air, of oxygen. Yeah, which means that at 60 gigahertz, it will affect the oxygen molecules, and it will affect how your body absorbs those oxygen molecules and gets them to vital organs in your body. But, I didn't really want to get into the health effects of 5G. I wanted to make some connections. I can do several lives on what 5G would do to people. So I'm going to move on right now. I'm going to move on to, okay, so now we're aware that Qualcomm is instrumental in developing the 5G, okay, 5G technology. Okay, now what we're going to do right now is we're going to look at 5G and a 5G availability map, or a 5G availability list, basically outlining the countries that will have the 5G and when they will have it. Okay, now let's look at that. All right, let's go all the way up here. Okay, a lot of countries. 5G availability around the world. Most countries will have access to 5G networks by 2020. All right, North America. North Americans have already seen smaller iterations of 5G networks pop up, but it won't take off in most areas until 2020. Estimates say by 2023, up to 32% of North American mobile connections will be on a 5G network. Now, we need to find out where the 78 or the 68% that don't have, we need to find out where that is so we can go ahead and buy some land there and live there. Okay, anyway, United States. I'm not going to go over when all these countries will have it, but let's look at the countries that are on here. North America, United States, Canada, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Central America, Honduras, South America, Central America, Puerto Rico. These are the poor countries. Chile, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Paraguay, Asia, Japan, China, Qatar, Kuwait, United Emirates, India, Indonesia, Turkey, Vietnam, Iran, Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kazakhstan, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Africa, Nigeria, Senegal, Egypt, Morocco, Democratic Republic of Congo, where, what? Why did they need 5G in Congo? What was it? Europe, Norway, Germany, United Kingdom, Italy, Switzerland, Spain, Austria, Finland, Russia, Luxembourg, Slovakia, Ireland, Faroe Islands, Channel Islands, Romania, Hungary, Sweden, Ireland, Portugal, France, Estonia, Denmark, Azerbaijan, Iceland, the Netherlands, Monaco, Belgium, Oceania. That sounds like a goddamn country in the DC universe, something like that. Australia, New Zealand, Guam. Wait a minute. Is this it? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What was it? Wait, what was it? Where the hell is Israel? Well, let's go back up. Somebody stop me when they see Israel. Wait, there's a delay. Never mind. There is no Israel on here. When is Israel getting their 5G? They developed the shit. When they getting it? I can tell you. There are many lists, there are many maps, there are many rollout lists that outline when certain countries are getting the 5G and Israel ain't on none of them niggas. You understand what I'm talking about? Why is Israel not going to get it? All right. Very interesting. Israel's not getting 5G anytime soon. What was it? Ooh-wee. All right. All right. So 5G, why is it important? Well, because you need it to implement the Internet of Things, and Internet of Things is important because they need that to implement Agenda 21, which means that they need to connect everything. They need to be able to access everything that they want to access. Now let's look at something else here. Okay. 6 reasons. Okay. Because let me look at y'all. What y'all talking about? Cash is laughing. Derek says, because Israel is one of the first countries to outlaw cell phones for children because they knew the health effects. Oh, they care about their children, don't they? In Israel, they care about the children. Unless you're a Muslim who's from Ethiopia, or a Christian from Ethiopia, or unless you're Palestinian, children, yeah, they care about the children, right? All right. So 6 reasons Israel became a cybersecurity powerhouse. Ooh, cybersecurity powerhouse. Now, this is very important, all right? Look at what you got going on here. 6 reasons Israel became a cybersecurity powerhouse. Why is it important that they become a cybersecurity powerhouse? Leading to the $82 billion industry. Okay, now this is Netanyahu, bitch ass. Anyway, oops. Cyber is a great business. It's growing geometrically because there is never a permanent solution in a never-ending business. What he's basically saying is that there is never going to be any real cybersecurity, which is why you can present the illusion of having cybersecurity for people, because there will always be somebody hacking any old shit, and there will always be a demand of it, right? Okay. Yeah, we know who Ben Netanyahu is. Innovative cyber defenses we can test here and take back to America. Let me ask y'all a question. Why do we need them to innovate the cyber defense and bring it back here? Israel has become a cybersecurity powerhouse at the center of an $82 billion industry. In addition to the collaborating with superpowers. How many superpowers are there? Are they collaborating with China? No. Are they collaborating with Russia? No. What other superpowers are there? Israel is assisting smaller nation, Singapore, creating 300 plus cybersecurity startups. For example, we don't need to see them. Exporting last year, $6.5 billion in cybersecurity products, convincing more than 30 multinationals to open local R&D centers and attracting foreign investors. In 2016, we had about 20% of the global private cybersecurity investment. But you're Netanyahu and you're from the government. What are you doing dibbling and dabbling in private security investment? At the conference, I participated in a series of briefings, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so a Jew. So here are 6 factors that have contributed to making Israel a global center for cybersecurity, research, and practice. The government as coordinator. What does that mean, the government as coordinator? When Prime Minister Netanyahu asked Professor Ben Israel in 2010 for a 5-year plan on how to respond on a national level to increasing cyber threats. The latter answered that 5 years in cybersecurity is about 3 or 4 technological generations, making it impossible to predict and plan. Instead, Ben Israel and his National Cyber Initiative Task Force recommended developing an ecosystem that will know what to do when these unpredicted threats will come. All right. Now, there's a lot here, but what's the most important thing that we figured out here? The government as a business catalyst. What? Is that what we want for our government? To be a business catalyst? What you saying? Queen says, I'm so glad to see you live. You know, I wanted to come with it when I had a lot of information to share. I mean, you know, talking to y'all in the car is cool, but yeah, I need to show y'all receipts. Okay, so we don't need the government to have nothing to do with business. Making the military a startup incubator and accelerator. Listen to that. The adverse geopolitical conditions in which Israel has found itself in, since it was established in 1948, have forced the small country to invest its meager resources in developing and maintaining superior military capabilities. As computers increasingly found their way into walks of life and war, cyber defense has become an important activity for the IDF. The IDF is the Israeli Defense Force. So the IDF is developing cybersecurity protocols for multiple countries, including our own. With years of intelligence gathering and cybersecurity practice, the IDF's unit AD200 has evolved into an incubator and accelerator of Israeli startups in cybersecurity and other fields. We have succeeded in turning a disadvantage into an advantage. Okay, says Nadav Zafir, former commander of AD200, and today the CEO of Team 8. That sounds like a freaking spy novel team. In the past, military service was perceived as a waste of time. While it's different now. We didn't plan it that way. No one thought about how to make the IDF into a catalyst for Israeli economy. But that's what happened. So they're essentially saying that the military in the goddamn Israel is running the cybersecurity network for multiple countries, including our own. What that means is they have access to the back door of our military networks and other networks that are crucial to the defense of this country. All right. That has huge implications. All right. And it's interesting that Israel would be the hub of all this cybersecurity for multiple countries, and all these other countries are getting the 5G, and they are not getting the 5G as far as we know anytime soon. So that means they'll have access to the Internet of Things via 5G, which means that they will have a backdoor to, if they want to turn off your shit, they can turn off your shit. If they want to turn off your car, they can turn off your car. If they want to turn off your freaking toaster, they can turn off your toaster. If they want to turn off your refrigerator, if they want to explode your, listen, what refrigerators, you know what they use as a refrigerant now, or what they use to power the refrigerant? They use propane in these new elevators, these new refrigerators, okay? What happens when your refrigerator is connected to the 5G Internet of Things and can be controlled via that? Okay, what would it take to trigger an explosion using that propane tank inside your refrigerator? Lordy, lordy. Okay. Now, what this means is when the Internet of Things rolls out, the 5G rolls out, everything that you have, every new item that you pick up, everything you buy at the store will be connected to the 5G network. Everything. But mostly your cars. And how do most people get about? In their vehicles. Okay? But they don't want you to really be able to get about in your vehicles unless they want you to. So this is why this is why it's going to be connected to your vehicles. All right, so Cash says, bro, you're going to have to look into OBS because Google Hangouts is shutting down on the first and easy, though. What? Hangouts are shutting down. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to hit you up about that, Cash. Because I'm not very savvy in this technology stuff. All right, so listen. All this is connected, okay? The TAPS Act, which is probably going to pass, y'all. TAPS Act is probably going to pass because it is obviously a bipartisan bill. Because I mean, no one is opposing this shit, right? There's how many people in Congress? 430 something. So I mean, you have 100 people in the Senate. So I mean, they have 100 co-sponsors right now, 106 right now. I mean, it seems like it's going pretty good. Now, the TAPS Act will flush out the dissenters, okay? Anybody with a voice that speaks out against this stuff, all right? All right. ID 2020 will give you a digital fingerprint that can be accessed every time you do something, every time you go somewhere. Don't think that they won't use an RFID system to access your ID. You won't have to pull out your ID, present it to somebody, and they swipe it. No, they just have to use our RFID reader or whatever to access your card that's still in your wallet in your back pocket. Okay? Because they got facial recognition, but what if you're wearing a hoodie? What if you're wearing a hat that's covering your face? Well, let's check his ID 2020. Oh, we got him. You see what I'm saying? Listen, your privacy will be gone. Okay? Your motor travel, your freedom of travel will be extinguished. Okay? TAPS Act will help accommodate this whole agenda. Okay? They want to be able to come snatch you up for whatever reason without due process, without probable cause, without a court order. Okay? They want to sit you down and psychologically evaluate you. All right? So that they can roll out this 5G network that's going to zap the hell out of your skin. And not only that, manipulate the oxygen molecules that'll make it difficult for your organs to get that much needed oxygen. So they want us sick. They want us to visit the doctors all the time. No oxygen, without the proper oxygen intake, you'll be sick all the time. You'll be going to the doctor. You'll be injecting the pharmaceutical industry with you, okay? Because you are property and they need to cash in on you. All right? You're a slave to the system. Keep your eyes open, brothers and sisters on YouTube. They may try to send PIs at your house. Well, I mean, look, it is what it is. It is what it is. Somebody has to speak up about it. All right, now, what I want to do is let's look at Agenda 21. Okay, Agenda 21. Now, there's a lot going on here. Agenda 21 is not just about. It's not just for this country. It's for every country within the UN, that 178 countries, 178 nations. Okay. Reinvention of government. Okay, let's look at some of this. What is okay? So it's about sustainable, quote unquote, sustainable development. Awareness of Agenda 21 and sustainable development is racing across the nation as citizens and community after community are learning what their city planners are actually up to. As awareness grows, I am receiving more. All right, so this is from a website known as AmericanPolicy.org. Okay, it basically breaks down many of the policies that are being implemented. Many complain that elected officials just won't read detailed reports or watch long videos. Can you give us something? Whatever. So look, what is sustainable development? According to its authors, the objective of sustainable development is to integrate economic, social, environmental policies in order to achieve reduced consumption. Reduce consumption. This is the hook. Reduce consumption, because everybody wants to reduce consumption, right? No, it's not about that. What it's really about, to me, what I believe, it's about reducing your ability to travel, reduce your ability to move about freely, to do what you want to do. Social equity and the preservation of restoration of biodiversity. Okay, there's nothing wrong with biodiversity. We need it, all right? So they use a lot of truth to implement their lies. Sustainabilists insist that every societal decision be based on environmental impact, focusing on three components: globe land use. See, globe land use. Pay attention to that. Globe land use. They want to be able to control what land you're able to use. Global education but let's point out something. How much land does the government use? A lot more than we do. A lot more than we do. We didn't tell these motherfuckers to start the Industrial Revolution. Anyway, global land use, global education, and global population control. See this? Global population control and reduction. Social justice is described as the right and opportunity of all people to benefit equally from the resources afforded us by society and the environment. It's all about socialism. Redistribution of wealth. Private property is a social injustice since not everyone can build wealth from it. National sovereignty is a social injustice. You see this? National sovereignty is a social injustice. Lack of universal health care is a social injustice. This is essentially what they're saying. All part of the Agenda 21 policy. Economic prosperity. Public-private partnerships. Special dealings between government and certain chosen corporations, which gets tax breaks. We see this with Google. We see this with YouTube. We see this with all these companies, all these oligarchies and all this other stuff. This is all part of that. Grants and government's power of eminent domain to implement sustainable policy. Government sanctioned monopolies. You understand? You see what this is? Government sanctioned monopolies. Isn't Disney buying up all the shit? Disney owns damn near everything. Viacom owns damn near the other half. Local sustainable development policies. All right. Smart growth. What is smart growth? What is that? Smart. See, when they throw smart on shit, you know it's stupid as hell. Wildlands projects, resilient cities. What is a resilient city? Regional visioning projects, star sustainable communities, green job, blah, blah, blah. Who's behind it? We know who's behind it. Okay. What gives the Agenda 21 ruling authority? This is important. More than 100 and like 250 nations in the world, something like that. More than 178 nations adopted Agenda 21 as an official policy during the signing of the ceremony at the Earth Summit. Now get this. Agenda 21 goes back quite a bit. It goes back quite a bit. But most people are just now learning about Agenda 21. It's been around for quite a while. U.S. President George H.W. Bush signed the document for the U.S. In signing, each nation pledged to adopt goals of Agenda 21. In 1993, President Bill Clinton, in compliance with Agenda 21, look, both George and Bill wanted to implement this stuff. Different parties, different presidents. Come on, man. Come on, man. Signed Executive Order 12852 to create President's Council on Sustainable Development in order to harmonize U.S. environmental policy with UN directives as outlined in Agenda 21. All right, so basically, George H.W. Bush signed this document to be a part of this Agenda 21 crap. Bill Clinton signed an executive order to create a President Council to make sure this shit got cracking. All right, to make sure that this shit goes through. And ever since then, and a little bit before, 1993, look at the year, 1993, that's last century. They have been working on this. This is nothing new. Agenda 21 proposes an array of actions which are intended to be implemented by every person on Earth. Intended to be implemented by every person on Earth. So you're going to force everybody to participate in something, right? Because you deem it necessary. It calls for specific changes in the activities of all people. Effective execution of Agenda 21 will require a profound reorientation of all humans, unlike anything the world has ever experienced. Okay, Agenda 21, the Earth Summit Strategy to Save Our Planet. Emphases, DR. So this was actually said by somebody on the Earth Press in 1993. Urgent to implement, but we don't know what it is. The realities of life are, now these are quotes from people that are part of this planning, the part of this, the ICLEI, and I'll go back up and explain what that is. The realities of life on our planet dictate that continued economic development, as we know it, cannot be sustained. Sustainable development, therefore, is a program of action for local and global economic reform, a program that has yet to be fully defined, okay? No one fully understands how or even if sustainable development can be achieved. However, there is growing consensus that it must be accomplished at the local level if it is ever to be achieved on a global basis. Land cannot be treated as an ordinary, now listen to this. I'm going to read this quote here, and I'm going to call out the bullshit. I'm going to break down the euphemisms. One of the commercials they had was having older people move on in order to, wow, yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy, you stupid fool. That's funny when I say that, huh? All right, peace out, Queen. Now look, Agenda 21 in private property. Land cannot be treated as an ordinary asset controlled by individuals and subject to the pressures of and inefficiencies of the market. Private land ownership is also a principal instrument of accumulation and concentration of wealth, therefore contributes to social injustice. Owning land is social injustice. The private ownership of land is social injustice. Come on, man. Private land use decisions are often driven by strong economic incentives that result in several ecological and aesthetic consequences. The key to overcoming it is through public policy. All right, and who's now look, this quote up here was, this was in 1976, y'all. All right, they've been hating the fact that people can own private lands for a long time because they want it for themselves. The elite want the land. The elite want the crucial land. They want to push us into these mega regions and have control of all the rural areas. 95% of which is still still inhabited. Like no one occupies 95% of the land in this country. Private land use decisions are often driven by strong economic incentive, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So y'all see where this is going. Reinvention of government. We need a new collaborative decision process that leads to better decisions, more rapid change, and more sensible use of human, natural, and financial resources in achieving our goals. Oh man, they want a new world order. That's essentially what they're saying. Now look, this is the shortest quote I've read so far and the most important. Individual rights will have to take a back seat to the collective. Harvey Ruffin, vice chairman of the ICLEI, the Wildlands Project. So y'all see where this is going. Oh, and let's see what they determined isn't sustainable. Ski runs, grazing of livestock, plowing of soil, building fences, industry, single-family homes, paves and tarred roads, logging activities, dams and reservoirs, power line construction, and economic systems that fail to set up proper. But this is like most of this is being done by the government. Most of the development, most of the land use, most of the pollution is the government is the largest contributor to all this stuff that they're complaining about. We didn't ask them to develop nothing. Shit just happened like that. Now let's look at the now, like I said, y'all, it's been a few months, and the first time I saw this map was a long time ago, like last year. And I've been having a very difficult time finding this map. Okay, now this is the official mega regions map that has been put out, okay, for the United States. Okay, now look at this. I don't know if y'all have seen this before. Look. Now, let me zoom out. How do I zoom out? Okay, so let's look at this. How many people are in the United States? Let me see. What's the population in the United States? Let's see. Do a little search here. So, what is the population? 327 million? Okay. Now, these circles, this right here represents the number of people living in these areas, okay? This is the scale. All right, and the largest being 6 million plus. So if you look at this, right, 326 million people, what you have here is, these are the mega regions, the emerging mega regions. And this is the Regional Plan Association. All right, this is done by the Regional Plan Association, and this is the America 2050 that they want. This is what they want America to look like in 2050. All right. So the largest circle is 6 million. So right here, what you have is 6 million, right? That's 9 million, whatever the case may be. So you basically get the gist of it, right? This is where they want to push everybody to, right? These are the areas that they want everyone to live by 2050. This is what they're going to limit our population to. All right, 9 million here, 9 million, and you have this right here. I'll say this is 15 million, right? 15 million, maybe another 5. Y'all get the gist. I don't think all this adds up to 320-something million people. But this is the emerging mega regions map. This is their goal. They don't want you up in here. All right. You got some people that got to live in these areas to extract resources for the government. You got to have some people in those areas. But y'all get the gist of it. All right. And there's going to be a bullet train system that's going to connect all these mega regions together. All right. That's how you're going to travel from one place to another. Don't be surprised if they start talking about never letting people fly again. Soon. They're going to say, if you fly, all the carbon emissions from flying is too detrimental to the environment. So we can't fly anymore. So we're going to build these magnetic train rails, to have these magnetic trains to zip you from one place to another. You can get here between San Francisco and LA in like 20 minutes. You can get to Vegas in 20, whatever the case may be. So they're going to limit your travel. They're going to want, electric vehicles everywhere. Shout out to Michael Kaufman. Oh, he's dead? What happened to Michael Kaufman? Maybe we should look that up. All right. But y'all see this map. This is where they want us. Okay. And like I said, Agenda 21 is a global agenda. It's not just a national agenda. Okay. That our president, Trump, he's not a nationalist. Okay. So now let's look at this. We're having to a 2030 thing. Okay. I thought I had. Where's the information I had for Agenda 2030? All right, let's go here. Agenda 2030. This is my last little piece. Y'all. And then we can wind it on down. So, transforming our world. Well, let's look at that. Okay. All right, we're not going to read this preamble. This BS. Come on. Let's get into the breakdown of it. The goals and targets will stimulate action over the next 15 years in a series of critical importance for humanity and the planet. We're determined to end poverty and hunger in all their forms and dimensions. Even if we have to create GMO foods to feed everybody, grow food in labs and splice shit and, make tilapia and all this other shit out of human DNA, whatever we got to do to feed everybody. And to ensure that all human beings can fulfill their potential and in dignity and equality in a healthy environment. Why is it the government? Why is it the government's responsibility for this? They're not. We're responsible for reaching our own potential. Right? That's how I see it. The planet. We are determined to protect the planet from degradation, including through sustainable consumption and production, sustainably managing its natural resources, and the urgent action of climate change so that it can support the needs of the present. Okay. Oh my God, this is crazy. But y'all see what's up. Whoa, what just happened? Y'all see what's up. Oh, look what this guy says. UN Agenda 2030, a recipe for global socialism. If it's not. I had something else here too. So, okay. I had something that would show how 5G would fit into Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030. Let's see. But y'all get the gist of it. Now look, I'm going to stop sharing. I think I've pretty much nailed it. I pretty much, I have outlined, I believe, how all this stuff fits together and why all this is important for the controllers. They can't complete one step without another step, okay? And they're constantly trying to, remove our precious rights from us. They're trying to control us. They're trying to push us into these mega regions. They want to control everything. This is their way, okay? 5G is very crucial to their plan. 5G must roll out. If it does not roll out, they cannot implement their plan. ID 2020 is crucial, okay? That's how you have complete access to the people, because ID 2020 will be accessible via 5G. You understand what I'm saying? And, it's crazy. Like, we are giving these people access to our lives we don't have to do. We don't have to. But now we have these congressmen and these senators trying to push this TAPS Act so that they can have complete, unfettered access into our lives. Constitution be damned. And, I'm not for it. I'm not for it. We need to People need to wake up. People need to wake up. We must make these connections so that we understand what is going on. All right. They know that millimeter waves are harmful to the human body, yet they're rolling it out anyway. They know that the TAPS Act is a violation of our privacy, is a violation of our Second Amendment rights, violation of our First Amendment rights. Yet they're implementing it anyway. They know that Agenda 21 is basically about limiting and abolishing our freedom of travel. We won't be able to travel freely throughout this country. We won't be able to buy land where we want to buy land. They want us to live in stack and pack cities. They want us living on top of each other. They want to limit the oxygen intake with the 5G. All this, I mean, we have to see how all this shit is connected. Watch Total Recall. Not that new bullshit, but the old Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Watch Demolition Man, okay? The predictive programming is real. They have been telling us what their plan is for years and years. Demolition Man, Total Recall, okay? They live. You understand what I'm saying? These are, come on. We have to wake up. We have to wake up because at the end of the day, what I really want is for my children to be able to live freely and not have to worry about following a directive by some random person in a centralized government. We should all be able to live free. And these agendas are about the exact opposite of that. It's about not allowing us to live freely within our own country, within the world. What's up, Derek Williams? He's saying, we won't see the light until there are cancer clusters all over the country and globally. It wasn't until you had health effects of leaded gasoline that they changed up. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But see, the thing is now, they know the effects of 5G. They've known the effects of 5G since the 70s. But they're doing it anyway. They don't care the information is out there for everybody to see. Every time they put out a new generation of technology, wireless technology, we all up on it because we got to be on our cell phone. We got to have, I got to watch this movie. I got to watch that movie. I got to watch that YouTuber. Oh, it's taking too long to download. I need to download in a half a second, not 3 seconds. We are begging them to do this to us. You understand what I'm saying? Like this is the problem. Too many people want instant gratification. Well, let me rephrase. Until the man on the street realizes the health effects. Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, all they're going to do, bird flu, the mosquitoes are spreading this disease, let's go to the doctor. Oh, let me give you some medication. And now you're stuck on meds for the rest of your life because you won't pay attention to where the threats really come from, where the sickness is coming from. I mean, some raw cocoa beans. Delicious. Ain't nothing like it, just a straight up fresh raw cocoa bean. Anyway, so, and real cacao beans are packed with antioxidants. Anyway, look, y'all, I've gone on enough. Y'all get the gist. Like the video, share it. A lot of good information. You understand what I'm saying? And the information is there. It's at your fingertips. All you got to do is do your due diligence and go find it. Help me get this information out there. If you can reach more people than me on your platform, please do your own video about it. Go get it and show it and share it with the people that are in your platform. You know, that's how you get this moving. Or just share this video. You understand? And the average person who loves Siri, to mention the health effects sound like someone hating. Yeah. I'm not, yeah, I do read, you know. It's important. Anyway, I'm gonna get out here, y'all. Like, share, subscribe. You know, this was a long live, but I felt it was necessary. And, you know, I wanted to do this long live right here. I wanted to put all this out there. And I'm going to start breaking stuff down in regards to this stuff because I feel like our eye is not on the ball. You know, next I want to touch on the sex trafficking trade because it's deep and real. I wrote a book, a short story actually, before I published The Seeds of Dark Matter. It's called The Panama Shuffle. Okay. And it's about the main character of The Seeds of Dark Matter's final moments or final days, I'll say, during his service in the military, you know, as an Army Ranger. And yeah, it's a really good short story. I might put that out as a free ebook, you know, share it with some people. And yeah. Anyway, salute to y'all. Hey, Liz. Wait, much love to y'all, man. Oh, Liz, go back and watch this video. A lot of good information in here. You know, a lot of commentary on things, and hopefully it'll bring some enlightenment to people. Anyway, much love to y'all. Peace out.